In this podcast, we're going to talk about a topic much closer to our hearts, which is real estate. Whenever you go to a property and see those beautiful designs and materials you put into them, those are designed and planned by an interior design studio. So, we brought in an interior design studio owner and want to share with you all what does it take to run a design studio and the challenges you should be aware of if you decided to start one for yourself. My name is Vince, and ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in our show, we have Leonard Mak. Hello, Leonard. Hello, Leonard. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me.
So, for the benefit of our listeners, right, can you give us a short introduction of yourself?
My name is Leonard. So you mentioned Leonard Carr, right? Actually, Carr is my middle name, so it's actually Mak. Right,
Oh,
my
shit.
surname is Mak.
Wait, what? So, Leonard Mak?
No, Leonard Mak Carr Jun.
Makajun. Wow. Oh, so, Mak is your family name?
Yes, that's right.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay.
So people tend to
I thought Mak is like those English name.
they'll tend to write it as Mark.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I have a background in architecture, and I somehow ventured myself into interior design, and this is what I'm doing right now, lah. So I've been running this company for about 7 years. In another 3 months, it'll be 7 years already, lah.
Wow, okay. So what is this company about? What is its name? And tell us a little bit of this company.
Okay. I was trying to be as creative as possible when you come up with like a venture name, of course, right? So you go with like a couple of few options, and then when SSM comes and say you only have these few options, so I just went on with my own name.
Okay. But
So
then
as
in
creative as
reality,
it
it
gets.
doesn't matter though. Like you can just put something name, but in company registration, it's like a boring name.
Yeah, that's true. You can just put up your like a restaurant. You have a different name, and then it's run by the
Are
company.
you an OCD person?
I tend to be, but I don't think I am in people's eye, lah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just gotten used to this whole name thing. So.
Okay. So what's the name of your company?
It's called Leonard Mak Studio. Yeah.
Or short is LM.
LMS.
Oh, LMS.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Short.
So tell us a little bit about what does LMS do?
Right. So we do interior design and mainly focusing on design and build. So having done like commercials and residentials, because I have also a background in architecture, so I tend to be quite familiar with renovation of extension kitchen, bungalows, and terrace house. So we tend to have inquiries on extension as well. So there will be like wet work. You're gonna put like footing, concreting, and stuff like that, and then leading itself all the way up to the interior. So I would say there's like this holistic design that pulls in through from the exterior to the interior instead of just doing interior itself. That's why our studio, we have a mixture of architecture designers and also interior designers as well.
Oh, okay. But I thought usually it's like separate one.
It's also separate because I have a background in architecture, but I'm not a licensed
okay.
architect. So I've done my studies up to just part 2 because there are 3 parts to architecture. The
Damn.
third part is the license, a certified architect, right?
Does it take
So
long?
It takes long. Yeah, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing right now.
Okay.
I just probably didn't have the patience of or the conviction.
You gotta
to
make the
just
dough now, right?
finish it through. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So tell us a little bit I'm so curious about your journey. Like how did you get started? Since you say you're an architect, right? Like how did you get started from where you are right now?
Okay, let's draw back a little bit to where I started my college. I did my degree.
Let's not go back that much, like your baby born.
Yeah, architecture in degree. So after that, I have the urge to try a lot of different things. So typically, right after your degree, people will tend to proceed on with their masters. Could be UK, Australia, or locally. I wanted to explore, so I started looking for a job, and I went back to this consultancy firm that I used to work with when I was an intern. So I went back, and my senior said, "Hey, just come back, and then we can continue the job that you didn't finish." So when I was back there, I was an assistant architect to the job, and I run project management. So I have to go to site and manage this project that I was drawing it when I was a little kid, when I was 17 and 18.
Wow.
So it's very interesting that I managed to like kind of carry it through to fruition. And it's very interesting because I have the opportunity to handle this 450 million project of like a mixed
Wow.
development of like shops, 400 units of condominium, and
This was your first
office.
time
That
after
was my
graduation.
first time. I was like 22,
Wow.
3 years old.
Damn.
So I just gotta pretend,
you're an
fake it till I
expert.
make it
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thing. I have to go to site and pretend to chair a meeting like I know what I'm saying. It was a very it was a very steep learning curve for me, lah. Especially 6 months in, my senior decided to leave the company and
damn.
leaving it to me to handle. Was very challenging. That was one of the best times of my life, lah. Learning as much as I could.
Okay. So what happened after that?
So after that, I felt like I was missing something. I just needed
Your mentor?
assurance or whatnot. I'm not very sure. I was like, that crossroad in life that everyone experienced before. So I was like, okay, maybe I just want to go study. So I felt it was not within the comfort of my family's financial capability to send me to the UK or Australia, and I always wanted something different. And I heard that Germany offers free education, so I was like,
Wow,
what was this all
okay.
about?
Okay, free.
What's free stuff is always best stuff, right? So I started researching, and I realized that there's this university in Dessau, which is 2 hours away from Berlin, that offers free education, which is actually you gotta pay for the administration fee.
Wow,
So I was like,
Germany.
just whatever it is, just go for it.
Germany is like one of the best architectural place, man. That's like the dream.
It's a dream in many many ways. Yeah, I didn't even imagine myself like going overseas to begin with. Yeah, so I was happy to be given that opportunity. So I did my master's there for 2 years. I came back to Malaysia, and obviously going back to the route of looking for a job.
Yep.
And there comes my friend and say, "Hey, would you want to do up my family's business office?" I was like, "Okay, let's just give it a try." And I was doing it, and then somehow another inquiry came to do an ice cream parlor,
Wow.
and so it kept rolling from there, and that was like 2017, and we're here.
Okay. So was it like very hard though, because you were from architecture, right? When he said do up, right? Was it like build a new place or like
Yeah, it's
design?
like building a new place, designing a new place.
Oh.
But the difference is what I used to be looking at like windows, walls, and
Yeah.
larger structures. But now I'm gonna look into something very minute in the sense that between this table and that table, how much space do I
Yeah.
need between these chairs so that when I,
Damn. Yeah.
So it's a very ergonomic study that you want to provide to the user.
So is that how LMS started?
Yeah, that's how it started. It was like me and another friend. We just venture into this, and 1 year in, he realized that this is not so much for him. His name is Nicholas, so we studied together in Germany as well. So he went back to consultancy in architecture, and I continue on myself.
Oh, okay. So how old were you when you started LMS? If you don't mind sharing.
I was probably 26.
Okay, still young lah. So
26, yeah.
okay, so when you started, okay, like being architecture and being a business owner is so different one.
That's very different.
So what was that when you entered LMS, right? Like when you opened LMS, what was like, shit, I didn't know what the hell is this? That moment.
That was crazy. I don't even know how to ask for the first paycheck. I was like, do I issue an invoice? I know that there's something called invoice, So how do I voice out and say, hey, look, Mr. Client, could you look into this payment? And I would like to collect 10%. I was like, is 10% enough? Or should I collect 30%? What's reasonable? And then you start having this conversation in your head. I think that's probably one of the largest challenges I remember having.
Yeah, because if you're like a employee, right? Paycheck comes to you. You don't need to even ask one.
So now I need to ask, lor. You wait for the end of the month or start of the month.
End of the month. Hey, where's my paycheck? Huh?
Yeah. How do I justify like my work and to how much I should be paid? Right?
Yo, my God. All right. So how many staff do you have at the moment?
I currently have about seven staffs running the design studio firm.
Wow. Okay. So moving on to the next question, we will come back to the business part of running the LM studio. We will come back to the part, but we have a few other questions lah. So the first question is like, for the people who wants to get interior design done in their property, right, but never done one, like the first time, what is the realistic budget and what should they be aware of? Let's say homeowners lah.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Normally two things we'll talk about, especially what you just mentioned when I first get on a phone call with a new client. I was like, what exactly you're trying to solve here? I understand that you're trying to expand your space, get a bigger kitchen? Is it because you have a mother-in-law who lives with you who cooks all the time? Or are you looking to expand your family to like 2 more kids in 5 years? I mean, those are really realistic questions that you need to ask yourself. Do you have your parents who come over the weekend? How much space do they need? A single bed or queen bed? So ultimately, because we are all driven by emotions, even myself as well, then you start to realize that there are check boxes that you actually need to meet. And what exactly are those? Instead of like, hey, I just want to renovate because I want to feel good about this new space. I'm excited about it. I want to move into this space, and I think it deserves a makeover. So I would really go into it detail and really find out like, what are you trying to solve here? And secondly, what's your realistic budget that you're looking at? Because there is a range of budget you should really look at when you renovate, depending on the extensiveness of it. Yeah.
But so it will be very difficult though if it's the first time people like they don't even know what is the market rate for an ID design and renovation.
Yeah.
Because I have this counter before, like some of my friends ask me, hey, you in the real estate, right? How much interior design? I got a budget of 3K. I'm like, 3K, do the floor lor.
I can go shopping to IKEA with you lah.
Yeah lah, do the floor lor, enough already. 1 square foot. So it's like, that's the problem. Like when it's starting out, right, people don't know what's the realistic budget. So what do you have to say for that?
I will start off with saying that, hey, look, setting up 200 ringgit per square feet is good, right? That'll be like, wow, most of the time lah.
Okay.
Yeah. Of course, when clients don't give me an emotion, I'll be like, oh, I think this is a good client because the figure doesn't seem to scare.
Oh, they have a poker face lah.
Yeah. Or maybe a poker face, right? So if you look at a 1,000 square feet studio and setting aside 200 ringgit, which is 200,000, I wouldn't say it's realistic, but you can do pretty extensive stuff with that amount of money. Right, but you could also spend 50K on a 1,000 square foot studio. So it really goes back to the question of like, what exactly you want to do? You want to change the floor, or you don't want to change the floor?
Okay, so it's another interesting question from that follow up, right?
Yeah.
Like, does like if let's say they got somehow like a cheap renovation done, like a very small portion of it, do you think it's worth it? Like less than 10K?
For ourselves, no, because we actually draw a line of like what's the minimum budget that you're looking to spend, because realistically we are running a business, not a charity in that sense, because we have mouths to feed. If you're offering that to a freelancer, no issue at all, because there's no overhead cost. You're not renting a space, you're just working from a bedroom. I would have done that when I was working myself, or even with a partner, no issue at all, as long as I could manage the finances accordingly. It's all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hear that, guys? Don't charge cheap. You are worth it, you know. All right. So the next thing I want to ask you is that what are the things that an entrepreneurs need to go through and know before starting an interior design studio? Can you share us with that?
Of course, starting off, it has always been driven by this passion of designing something and creating this product, putting out, and then when it's built, you get really excited. But if you look back in the market, what does the market demand and where do you want to position yourself? Because that's also something that we constantly explore ourselves as well. Do you want to be a design consultant who would only just make drawings and then pass it on to third-party contractors and they get it done? Or do you want to manage the build part as well? Or do you also want to manage the carpentry as well? So it depends on your capacity and your volume of how much you want to take in. Because the more you take in, the more you need to deal with, because everything is under your watch. So it is not a bad thing to scale down, but I'm also looking at to be taking very careful steps when you want to scale up.
But also it matters, right? Like because I heard that the person who draws nicely. Then when you give to the contractor, he'll be like mess up a little. Then that contractor messed up, and then when it comes to actual construction, the materials are not properly selected or what. So is that why you are trying to like everything in one place so that we maintain the quality?
Yeah, okay. So I want to address whatever you just said. Is like I could be just the designer who draws everything and I just pass it on, and it's no longer my business anymore, right? Or I want to put a gap, someone in between these two parties to bridge the gap, which is a project manager or a compliance manager who who makes sure that the drawing is being done exactly how it's supposed to be at site. And the third step would probably be like QC the contractor accordingly. Are you willing to take up so much effort from your end to making sure everything gets done well? But if you want to really go big, then that's
But
something you need to
does
do.
that responsibility lies on the drawer though? Like if let's say a client comes to a certain studio, does the drawer be responsible, or is it under the company, or like do they just get a freelancer to draw?
Oh, there are many instances where you reach out to a contractor, they will definitely get a freelancer to draw. I was like, I'll just pay this guy $5,000 and then I'll get all the drawings and then I'll just share it to you. So if you as a client, you you share your comments to me, I was like, I'll go back, I'll just drop this comment back. So I'm almost like a turnkey contractor. That is exactly not something I want to do because it just kills the creativity of things.
And it's also a kind of hassle. Like go back, hey, change already, go back. Yeah.
And then freelancers might just charge you more
Yep.
every single time you make changes.
Yep.
So your ability to sell that product is
Like the profit margin is just like getting slower and slower.
Yeah,
like, okay,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So what else do you think that people needs to be aware of?
You see, just now I mentioned about just design or then contractors and all. After that, you also do need to realize that there are councils that you need to deal with. You're dealing with
Oh yeah.
BPKL,
Oh yeah, that I forgot.
MBSA,
Yeah.
MPPJ and stuff like that because we built houses at different part of the cities, right? So you need to know who is more difficult to deal with and what are the ways to get around them.
That's so weird though. I was like, I remember when I did my own house, right? And then the interior designer said, "Oh, you have to ask permission first." But it's my land, bro. It's inside my house. Why would I ask permission for people? That's not. It's the law. It's like, huh?
Ask permission from your neighbor as well.
Yeah. I
Consent
was
letter.
like,
You
what the
can-
hell?
you can buy them a fruit basket as well to make them happy.
And then if it's a community, right, you need to ask a certain community
The
group.
management.
Yeah, so I was like,
HMB as well.
yeah, I was like, wow, like that. I don't want to do my house already.
Correct. And that's mostly some of the things that we did need to deal with.
Is it common though, or is it just in Malaysia?
I'm not very sure about the other countries, but I do believe that there are even more rules that you need to abide to in other countries. So, for instance, in Germany, right, if you're gonna extend your house either upwards or frontwards, right, you gotta. I've seen once where they brought in a crane to hang a mock-up of the size of the extension, and then hang there. So the extension is gonna be like say 3 meters by 3 meters. So we build up the box, and the crane just hung the 3 meter by 3 meter box right in front of the house to show the neighbor and say, "Hey, look, the extension will look like that. Are you okay with it?"
The fuck?
Yes. So then maybe you can go to a sense that say, "Oh, when the evening sun comes, that structure will block my access to the sun."
Yeah.
And are you okay with it? So it depends how difficult your
So
neighbors
does
are.
this mean we have to be friends with our neighbors also?
Yeah, in Australia they have things like that as well. But I think Malaysia is really good already lah.
So literally put a mock-up model. Hey, you think okay? Hey,
You think okay?
You think
It's
okay?
gonna, when it's done, it's gonna be this tall lah. You
What,
okay?
what if like out of like 3, right? Only 1 only said no. Cannot, still cannot.
GG lah, that's
Oh,
it
no.
lah.
Wow, man, this see, designing, getting permission is another thing, man. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else, or is there like more?
I mean, the stories will just go on and on.
Oh
lah,
my
depending
God.
It's a learning curve for us because every time you deal with different parties, as of recent, maybe I can share a little one, is that, the normal working hours could be 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Oh.
But because recently we dealt with this job where the neighbor works at night because he works remotely now, right? So his shift is 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. So during the morning and the noon, he wants to sleep.
So you guys are.
So it was like, bro, I'm sleeping. I was like, bro, no, it's 11 a.m. I was like, no, because I have a night shift, so I'm sleeping right now. So it's like something you need to. It's a
But
compromise.
is it part of your jurisdiction though? Like what time do you sleep? Because
Then
usually
you-
by law it's like morning to something, like there's a certain hour of have to do renovation.
Yeah, law is one thing. Keeping people happy is also one thing. Yeah, to GMB is like the management body is like, as long as everyone is happy, I'm not gonna give any problem. So just go work it out yourself.
Wow, like that.
Yeah.
Never mind, like you just you sleeping, right? Okay, I will reserve a Ritz Carlton hotel for you. We go sleep one until we finish our
I was
thing.
probably gonna bill the client. Yeah.
All right, okay. So the next thing I want to ask you is that what an entrepreneur who started an interior design studio can do to get their first 100K in revenue.
What can they do
Yep.
to obtain the first 100K, right?
Yep.
I would say I was very blessed with the start of my company through friends and families who introduced and referred one another to me. And I would say I kind of look back to it and say and ask myself, like, why is this happening, right? Probably they were the relationships that I built up 10 years ago or through high school and up until this point. Therefore, there is a trust that was built. So I would say, like many other people, networking is one of it, but how do you utilize them is also an important thing. So if that is not one of the equation that you have actually taken into account for since the start, presently, if you have nothing, what do you start off with? I think that's something we discussed when we were coming up to the studio. It was like free media out there. Probably gonna go all Gary V on you and say, hey, you know, the platform is all there. Are you putting in enough content?
You should talk like Gary V. You gotta do it.
Are you churning out enough?
You should watch the YouTube how our impression is.
And that's something I always ask myself, that these free medias are out there. Why am I paying Instagram like 200 ringgit for ads? Of course, the ads are working as well. And I myself, am I putting myself out there enough to educate and to share what I'm doing, show my process? And that's something I got woken up by reading this book called Show Your Work by Steve Cleon, I think. Yeah, it's a very easy reading book, and it's just basically showing anyone, even you're studying, you can just show your work, and that's gonna compound over time. And in future, when you look up, when you're looking for a job, me as an employer, I know stalking is like a not an official thing to do, but I would probably just look up to your profile and see, hey, look, what have you been writing on your LinkedIn profile, and what have you been doing during your free time? And that says a lot about you. And that's showing the process of how you built up to who you are. Yeah, I guess it's not about 100K or not, but it really is the process of compounding those things that you do. You show up.
It's all about like putting in the work as well, lah.
Yeah, sometimes I do ask myself, like, am I really doing enough?
But my question here is though, like, you can do free content, you can do networking, but at the end of the day, marketing beats everything. Like, if let's say you want the results now, like, have you done yourself like paid marketing to get more leads?
No, I have not.
So it's all referral based.
Yeah, it's all referral based.
Okay. I mean,
and it's not very sustainable.
Yeah.
To be honest,
that's a follow up question. Like, people listening to this, referral is like the best possible way for you to get, because it's almost like 90% confirmed. It's just that 10% you need to prove that it's worth it or not, because they coming.
Definitely.
The thing is that they have a trust that, oh, you can do it because it's referral from somebody they trust, ma. But my question is that, like, referral, yes, is best, but it's not always the good way to run a business, because imagine, right, you might get like 10 referrals this month, and then next month you're like, do I have referral or not? Who's referring me? Hey, can refer me? It's like you don't know a way to track. So what do you think there's how to counter that thing?
I would say that maybe I'll just address the referral part of things. Is that if you're doing your job good enough, the referral will naturally come, right?
Yep.
And that's something we cannot control. So the second follow up to that is, what are the controlled marketing content that we can put out? One thing that I'm exploring right now, I can't exactly share what the right way is. Yeah, maybe what's working for us so far is that since July last year, I started posting TikTok. So not that I can dance, but
no, he got a big following, you know. It's a TikToker.
And I wish I could actually build up more on it. So previously, I actually built up the company account, probably up to about 40,000 followers right now. And now I'm experimenting on doing it personally, building up a brand of myself in that sense. I just see where it takes me, right? So I'm just sharing the same content, but it's just
with
me
your
sharing
face
it on my face and see what works in the market. Yeah.
All right, so that's the follow-up question. Like, how do you brand and market your studio in this competitive landscape? Like, earlier on, you said like you created 2 different TikTok accounts, right? My question is, why separate those accounts? Like, why not just do it in one LM Studio account? Since you say you grow it to like 40,000, why don't you just keep continue growing with your face as well?
I think I want to create a variety in the sense that whatever I'm sharing personally is my experience itself. And am I speaking on behalf of the company? I can't be sure. Because sometimes, brands where they get very careful with their marketing content. Is it okay to say something like that as the CEO of this company? Will that jeopardize how people view the company as a brand? That is also a fear that I have. That's why
everybody has.
That's why I'm speaking on behalf of just myself. This is how I view certain things. I can talk about the traffic. I can talk about the road system. I can talk about this is how I view this design. It's strictly from my own view. So I might not have answered your question. Where do I brand myself as a company? I guess education is something that I slowly find passion in, and sharing what I know about, because sometimes it's not easy to share your trade secrets.
Yeah.
But I was start asking myself, what secrets are they? I learn from others as well as through my experiences.
Google.com, you can learn everything.
Right.
It's just you create for your audiences. Yeah.
So instead of branding my company in a way that, these are the beautiful works that I've done. Look, I've completed this office. This is just a beautiful work. But when I look at it, I personally feel that it's a facade that I have curated for you to see, and you may not know the pain that my entire team have gone through.
To be honest, it's like I've seen some of behind the scenes kind of videos from other design studios, and I didn't realize, wow, shit, there's a lot of stuff you have to go through. There's one video I saw from America, right? They did everything except for they one misaligned some part of it. They didn't put it in the design. They just fucked up the whole design. I'm then they were figuring out how to do. Then they have to they documented the process, how they figured out that wrong thing to make it to a right thing. It was freaking wow, people can do that. I was
and you will find it interesting.
Yeah,
right?
I find it, and I see that they are an expert. It makes me realize they are an expert or something.
In fact, whatever you just shared with me made me realize that perhaps this is something that we all could learn how we run our business, showing the behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's why we ourselves started doing BTS already. Every shoot we go, right, we want to show BTS, show them what does it take to create this beautiful work that you see. Because people think, easy only, just press button, shoot.
Yeah, it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears behind those kind of stuff. Sleepless night, really. You see those misaligned things. Sometimes it will just get us sitting as a team for 3 hours just to troubleshoot this small little thing.
Hey, I thought the plug was here. Why is it there?
Yeah, then we got to trace all the way back.
Yeah, the wiring somewhere.
Was it something that we fucked up through the drawings?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So, what do you think, in terms of content, design studios should be branding other than showcasing their own works? Other than educational as well.
I would say that I've been looking through what the other friends in the industry are doing, and some are showing really nice works, and some are playing at the level that I have always wished that we could play at. And I'm always trying to look for the polarity of what the industry is not doing, and I want to experience it. Or not experience, and I want to experiment something that has not been done before. Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to advocate, whether it's education, whether it's showing the behind the scenes, or showing the worst part of the design. Or that's why up until now I haven't yet to hire a professional photographer just to document the things that we've done. But I do see there is a place for it, because sometimes when you put up a portfolio, people want to see what you've really done.
But that's the question I'll ask you. Next thing is that whenever you say you want to showcase your works, right, the completed design, we have some interior design clients, and we know the hassle, right, is fixing the date to shoot. If let's say it's like let's say, because usually, right, renovation goes up to 6 months, 4 months to complete the thing. After complete, people needs to move in, especially offices,
right after you finish on Friday, I'm moving on Saturday.
It's very hard, But how do you manage that? You cannot create content maybe photo or video, right? Every single month, you have to wait a few months. How do you manage that thing?
Okay, so to your first question, I have yet to figure out how to shoot that beautiful photo when it's done, because I've done up a place in Genting, Sky Avenue. I finished at 4 a.m. and then 10 a.m. they started running their business.
Oh my god.
So you're saying like 4 hours of sleep. I want to sleep. I want to go shoot the video now. Right? Of course, you know what the priorities are.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't.
Yeah, just a pro.
You don't have that window of opportunity.
Just the pro tip, right? The reason why we did, right? We took almost half a year to just get the date to shoot.
The window of opportunity.
The window, it's like it's completed already, but we just need that one day to shoot.
You gotta probably get your client to chop everything.
Yeah, I was like, wow, make it clean some more.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's an effort lah, and I think it boils back down to time management. If we could complete the construction 1 week before, I think you have ample amount of time to just fix the defects and get the photo shooting done. You want to carry out your podcast in the new place also can.
Wow.
Right? That would be amazing, right? Yeah. So
But was it like? Is it always like people don't like give permission to? Hey, I don't want you to shoot my place for photo or video.
so far we don't have things like that, but I do. I've pointed it out to my team that I think this should be included in our letter of appointment. That
In the contract lah.
yeah, because not everyone is happy to share what
Yeah, I don't know.
how their house look like.
I really don't understand what's wrong with like people in Malaysia. They don't want to show their. I understand like a bit of privacy, but at the end of the day, it's the company's portfolio, ma.
Yeah, sometimes they want secrecy. Large corporation, we don't know. It's something that I'm learning as well.
Wow, how do you deal with this, man? How do you like once you run out of content to post right about your works, right? How do you deal with that? Do you have
So
a
you
solution
have
for
like
that?
3 months not seeing contents.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I don't have a solution because I run the Insta myself, and I don't think it's a very sustainable way of running it. There should be someone who's running it.
Is it like? Do you see a foreseeable future? Like, if let's say you keep doing this, it's gonna be hard because. Let's be honest. Social media, you have to be present 100% of the day. Like every single day, you have to be present. It's like, do you see this like a future problem coming?
I do see it as a problem, but I think it's probably excuses that I'm giving myself because I do see very successful business owners who are just churning out content all the time. And I start asking myself, why can't I do the same? Because sometimes you can just flick out your phone and just do whatever you can do in just 5 minutes only.
Yeah,
You can even do it when you're taking a shit, right?
Yeah,
So,
but that's the thing though. Like we humans, we do tend to be perfectionists.
yeah.
Like make sure, hey, look nice or not my face. You fat, you got people here.
Last time we used to think like that. Up until like what you mentioned just now, TikTok, you don't strive for perfection.
Yeah,
already.
like we talked earlier, like before the shoot.
Yeah, as long as everything is in place, you get the message out. I think it's done already.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure people can relate. Like they put so much effort on one particular video, got nice lighting lah, good
Yeah.
audio, everything but the views is like 20 or 30.
Yeah,
Then
we cannot feed on that anymore.
Yeah, then the one you shoot like going jogging, your face look ugly as fuck, and then wow, 100 million views. What the hell?
yeah. You're right.
All right, so let's come to the hiring of people because to have a successful business, you need the right people in your team. So I want to ask you, how do you pick the right people for your team?
I probably want to start out with my failures, where I think that's not something we were taught naturally to deal with other people.
Wait, before that,
Right.
have you fired anybody before?
Yes, I have.
Okay, we will come back to that question.
Yes, I have.
All right, you were saying?
Yeah, that's something that we always try to hone our own skills to run operation, to be better at certain things, but we never really taught ourselves how to be better leaders or how to eye out for good talents. And people, like what you said, everyone always say like to have the right people in place, to have a successful business, you need the right people in place. And it took me years to realize that until I got good people in a team that really takes problem out of you. So after speaking to mentors of mine, and they say the only thing that would make your business thrive is hiring the right people, hiring the right people, and hiring the right
It's
people.
so vague, hire right
Yeah.
people. Like, do they have a signboard there? I am the
Yeah.
right people.
You really got to experience it, and you see an apple to apple comparison and realize that this person is actually making a change, and this is probably not as much.
Okay.
Yeah, because when you have that one person and you think like, oh yeah, this guy is making progress, or this girl is providing value to the company, because you're making excuse to yourself because you hire that person, right? It's solely your responsibility to make sure that this person gets the best who they are.
But this thing though, like to know that they are the right person, they have to have a decent amount of time to show that they are the right person. Are you like the person like, okay, because maybe interview is like a risk, like 50-50 chance, like you do good or no good. But do you give them time or do you see a potential in them?
I do give them time, but one thing that I've learned from my mistakes were, despite having that 3 month of probation, I don't.
Oh, not bad. 3 months.
3 months
You know,
is
some
long,
no,
is it?
no, no, no. You know, some companies they do 6 months or
right?
8 months.
I also don't know. I probably run out of things to do in 6 months.
No, the problem was right. I didn't even know. I thought 3 months is like normal, but there are some of my friends who works for corporate. Right, their probation is like 6 months, 8 months. I'm like, are you sure, bro? Bro, 6 months no EPF. You know, it's like I get it lah. Your probation, but damn, that's so long.
Right. We still provide EPF and SOXO during probation.
Well, that's
so
good,
it's
actually. That's good. But most companies I know, right, they don't give EPF one. Right. Yeah. So you were saying?
I lost my train of thought.
You were saying the
like,
3 months probation.
Oh yeah, the mistake that I had was like, after hiring the person, you don't have a very strict schedule or milestone that this person has to achieve every single month. And having the milestone is one thing, holding accountable to those milestones is the second thing. And I feel that I could have done better with that because you set the tone of your expectations, and if they made it or not, it's important for them to know and important for you to realize that whether this person is meeting those things or not. Because otherwise, one year in only you realize that, okay, so here's the thing. If you have this person A who has been working for you for like a year, and then next year, the following year, you hired someone who's better, then you make the comparison and realize that, actually, this person that I had for almost a year could have done a lot better, right?
Yep.
Then only you set expectation. It's really not fair.
Okay. So next one is the hardest part. Basically, the hardest part for every business owner is firing your staff. Is it okay for you if you can share one of the experience you had firing? I mean, you say you fired staff before.
Well, I was good at firing, yeah. Firing is like a straight up.
Like, how do you deal with that? Like, do you say, hey bro, ciao, you're no longer here? Or like, hey, company are tight, or you're not performing. How do you deal with firing a staff?
Oh, I'm not the best person to be sharing the experience because I'm
maybe
really newbie at this whole thing.
We can share our own experience, because I have fired some staff before this as well. But you can start from your experience. Like, how do you fire people?
I tend to give a lot of chances, and that's probably one of my weaknesses. I do not seem to have the conviction to say it right in your face that, hey, look, you're really bad at what you're doing. So could you do better? I will always have the tendency to kind of sugarcoat things to make it seem better for you, because words are really damaging. It could be really damaging because I don't want to be that person. But at the end of the day, we're also running a business. We really have to look from the point of view as a team, because whatever I'm sharing with you as a feedback is not just how I feel, it's how everyone else feels. So to strategically put it out to you, it's also a skill.
Yep.
And because my sister have been running business for almost like, she's 11 years older than me, so she's been running her business for almost 18 years. And once I put out the way how I dealt with the termination, she was like, no, you should have done this. You should have built up to it. You should have let her know stage 1, 2, 3, so that that person is really clear of what's happening, and she will then leave herself.
Oh,
right.
That's so different.
To us, it's a kind of like, I go straight to you and say, hey, you're not performing.
I mean, like, straight get to the point. Like, why need to like put it slowly?
Because the Malaysian labor law is also very complex, and it's also, what I understand is it takes care of employees a lot. So for us to fire is not a very good thing for both the company and the employee. So best if you build it up on a mutual agreement.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
But my question is though, like, I thought usually if, let's say, company fires, right? Let's say, hey, I really give you a chance already, we cannot reach out, but we will confiscate you for a few months. Because I know that there's, by law, you have to confiscate that people for like what, 2 or 3 months.
What I understood is that if you provide in your contract, if it's just 1 month of notice,
okay.
then you need to compensate 1 month. If it's 3 months, then you need to compensate 3 months.
That's so bad, It's like, imagine you're getting fired with that month, right? The employee feels, I have to do the work. I'm getting fired. Fuck you.
Yeah. So it really boils back down to whether it's worth it for your company to compensate versus having the person to continue. Because if it's a sour relationship, no point having the person to stay. But of course, for a high executive in your company,
Oh, that's
you
bad.
need more time.
Yep.
Right. You need more time to pass over, and you're gonna manage that emotion properly.
Yep.
Because you don't want having a sour relationship for the next 3 months.
Yep.
You can see each other's face. Good morning. Good morning. You just walk away.
No, not even good morning. I just hate only like that. What's up?
Yeah. So it's not a good thing, lah. It's a very terrible feeling.
Yep.
Even my managers are also coping with it. It's not an easy thing to do, lah.
Yeah, that's kind of true though. Like I even have like some, still some past memories of my first fired. I don't know the guy is listening or not, but I had to fire because of my own problems or my own mistakes, which I didn't handle the company finances properly. People who watching this podcast, they know my journey where I started when I was young, like 21, and within the first 6 months, I lost all my money. Because I didn't know how to do properly cash flow the business. Like every month needs to come in money so we can sustain. Because when I started off, I already have like 50, 60K in the bank already with some clients in already. So I thought, enough 60K for like what?
No, hire like 10 fellas lah.
Yeah, I bought a lot of equipment from that money alone. Then I hired one staff. I thought, it's enough. If I hire the guy, pay myself enough already. Then I realized, shit, there's no
That's
money.
only for 1 month.
Yeah, I was like, there's no money left, there's no money for like 3 months. Shit. I was like on life support, for a few months. Then I told myself, okay, need to let go everybody already. I need to close down the company. So when I let go, right, it was really hard because that person trusted me. He has his own bills to pay and all. So when I had to let that person go, I was like, fuck, how to say this to him? Then we ended in a bad term, and then we didn't talk to each other lah. But until now, I still carry that pain of shit. It's because of my mistake that person had to suffer. So people don't see like firing is like the worst. I'm not sure how HR does this. Does this come in a job scope for HR people? Like,
I think HR does it better because let's say if you have a subordinate who is not performing, you tell the HR, and then the HR is a neutral point of view telling you that you're not performing because of these reasons. So you have to go. It's
different from like
it's different from you one-to-one and just tell you lah.
Yeah.
That's the good thing about large companies lah. But we don't have the privilege to do that.
Yeah, but I realized the one thing lah, like firing based on certain stuff, right? You have to check your emotions well. So the one thing I learned from the COVID lockdown days, right, is yes, you can fire, that's easy one, but be valid in terms of your firing reasons lah. Like, do you actually think that the person is worth firing or not? Like, have they done a very bad thing, or are you putting a high expectation on the person? Because not everybody can be you, ma. You can wake up early morning, shoot 10, 15 videos a month, and then post it up. But that other person cannot be like that.
Yeah,
so I told myself every time, not everybody is me.
Yeah.
I can do certain stuff, but other people cannot do one.
And you are incentivized to do that because it's your own creation.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, that's why it's a dilemma, but I always keep my emotions in check. That's a keyword, like emotion in check. Make sure that, okay, is this the right thing to do? If it's yes, emotion aside, then go ahead. But you still have to say, hey, I'm sorry, but I have to let you go. It's basically like a breakup,
Yeah.
If you went through, if you're on the opposite end, I cannot say anything lah. But if you are the person who breaks up with somebody, it's very hard,
Sometimes I also look at it as when we say fire, it always seems to be that it's the employee's fault that it's not performing well enough because it's straight up, it seems to be that way.
Yep.
But when I look at it, like what you said, sometimes we bear the responsibility because perhaps the environment does not require does not provide you the space to grow. And what you're requiring as of now for your career is not something you can get from this space. So it's more like not just firing, but it's a parting. It's a mutual agreement to depart, to separate.
If anyone listening in the comment section, let us know, how do you mutually fire somebody? Because both of us are like very newbies. How do you do that though? Mutually fire somebody where there's no bad blood between each other. Until now I have never seen anybody does that.
I start to realize that I think a clarity of communication is very important to set forth. Like, hey, just look at a relationship. Let's just take that apart and say, hey, if you're my wife, I expect you set forth that you are going to iron the clothes. I'm going to do the laundry, hang clothes and whatnot, and then you take it on from there. And it has been very clearly stated that this is what our job scope's going to be, right?
Damn, marriage is a job scope, right?
Yeah. So similarly, in a company, if this is not clearly defined, and say you are supposed to iron the clothes, but you screw up your ironing everything every time. And I have to provide you the feedback that, hey, look, you could do better. And I should provide you the guidance because it's my sole responsibility because I brought you into the company. And every single thing that you're doing well or not well is my responsibility. So as much as it's a very sour relationship, reflect it on ourselves.
All right. So, but moving on to our next question, how do you deal with your staff's burnout? Because I'm pretty sure this ID designing, there's always a moment that's make it 9 to 6 months, then suddenly become 6 to 10. Because you have to OT because
Or even more,
rushing stuff. How do you deal with this kind of stuff?
I've yet to find like the right remedy for it. But you do see some people who are only strictly abiding to just that 9 to 6, and I'm not going to do more.
You know what they call it, right? Quiet quitting.
It's not wrong though because it's not fully required of them to do that.
Yeah, but I still don't understand why are they saying quiet quitting? It's like basically saying you're supposed to come in 9 to 5, do your work, get lost. Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Why are you saying like a big thing? I until now I don't understand. But sorry, you were saying?
But the 9 to 5 thing, it also depends what you do during that time period. If you get your shit done together, I don't see a problem spending a bunch of time, right? But if you're willing to step out of the box to do more, provided you are recognized by the company or the boss that you are actually doing more than what you're supposed to do to improve your skills, going out of your way to probably meet client in the evening or even at night, because we tend to do meetings after dinner with clients because they work 9 to 5, right?
Yeah.
Saturday mornings, most of the time we got to meet clients. So my entire Saturday is normally going to
I
site
mean,
and all.
I mean, for business owners, it's different lah. Saturday and Sunday is just still another work day lah.
How do I manage the burnout? How do you manage the burnouts of your team? Because we're in a creative industry that...
Usually, if you ask Roy, he's behind us. If let's say if I see him burn out, I'll just take over the project. I understand my own burnout as well because I have my own limits, but I still have quantity to handle lah. Like sometimes if there's too much videos to edit, I will just I'll take over, no problem. It's just I have to manage my own time as well, reschedule it to be this. That's about it lah. But burnout, wow, that was a big ass burnout. I took a trip to Penang, just like I literally went to Penang just for one thing only, is drown myself in the sea and just my head only popping up. I literally just stood there for like a few hours, just like relaxing, just thinking nothing, just hearing the sound of the seas and the wave. Then, okay, I come back. Okay, I'm ready to work already. So, I mean, I handle my burnout. If I have burnout, I will take rest or come back again. But if my staff alone have burnout, I will see like, are you overworked? If you are, I'll take over the job, no problem. I will reschedule my work for you. Because I understand when you burn out, right, the things you produce during the burnout is just pure shit. So it's like, what's the point, bro? You're like creating poop for me. Then why am I just take a rest, relax your mind, come back, create gold for me. That's it. But it's different for like ID designers though. Like, because you have to have a rough timeline. Like maybe sometimes clients give you like unexpected, like unreasonable timelines as well. Like, how do you handle that with your staff? Do you tell them, hey, look, sorry, the client requested it. Like, if you don't want to do it, it's fine. I will do it. I do. Is there a conversation like that?
It goes back probably to the strategic goals of what the business is heading towards. If you are solely servicing what the client wants, and if it's unreasonable, you are abiding to it, the employees would know. Your colleagues would know that, hey, why our boss is a yes man, right? To follow everything through. Because then it all drops back on us. So I'm also trying to learn how to be the first line of defense to, hey, say no to client, because you want to stand up for your team as well, to protect them from being burnt out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So moving on to a few last questions, right? What is, because we see in social media all the best part of it. Oh yeah, I designed Genting. Hey, I designed this. Hey, I created TikTok. By the way, he has a lot of TikTok followers than us. I'm so sad. Follow us, guys. Come on. So like people see this outer exterior of the best things, but I want to know what is the worst scenario. Like, what is the hardest lesson you learned from running an interior design studio that most people don't see?
Mismanaging your finances. I think that's what everyone would be, because
Wait, do you have a background in financing?
No, bro.
The reason why I'm laughing, because I know the pain of mismanaging your finances. It's very hard. So yeah, how did that happen?
Felt that a bit from you as well. um, Going back to it, I really do think that we sometimes need to function ourselves like a Chinaman. You really need to boil back down to every single bolt and nut. You don't want to just splurge. And I have the tendency to do that. And you want to pass this job to the right person to manage it for you. Because we're not doing a trading business where I buy a mineral water for $1 and I sell it for 150. I know I definitely can pocket 50 cents. I just need to expand the skill of selling that mineral water. Sometimes you pan out your design timeline to be in a month. Sometimes it drags up to 3 months. And basically you're tripling your expenses, but you're charging the same amount to your client. And that is very difficult because many times we charge our clients based on the amount of time spent. But in actual fact, we should go by value-based charging. And that's something I learned a lot from this guy called Blair Inns. Blair Inns. So BL.
I think I know him. Yeah, I think I know him.
Yeah. He has this book called The Manifesto of Win Without Pitching.
Okay.
It's amazing, right?
Yes,
so
okay.
I advocate my team to read it because how you sell and set that foundation to your client is how you charge, how you profit from it, how you deliver, and what they expect of you, and how you protect your team. And that's something I'm trying to learn. So the biggest challenge, money and money still, because if you get a healthy project profit margin from any job, you will have the tendency to really provide a lot more value for it, as opposed to, this is a losing job. Because of principle, I need to finish the job for you. Principle is one thing lah, but putting food on the table is a second thing.
So does usually design studio charge based on the amount of work or the timeline of work to do?
Time is definitely something that we need to take into account, but it also we have to look into the complexity of the project. So we go back to the 1,000 square foot studio. Having 1,000 square foot studio being done up with 50,000 versus 200,000, it's a lot of more work being put into it. Hot process, choice of material. Maybe you need to reach out to different suppliers. These are the things you got to take into account.
But that's the thing though, like even ourselves also, like sometimes we have some clients like they need it urgently, like videos lah. So usually we charge like rush fees or something. Is that a thing that in interior design firm? Like they say a very unreasonable, let's say the 1st of November, I want it done by 31st of November. I give you, let's say, a certain amount of money. Do you charge them a rush fee also? Or is it possible to do that also?
I've never thought of that though. Thanks for bringing it up. Because we never had this idea of like charging a rush fee, right?
Oh, it's very common in our field one. Like if they give us an unreasonable timeline, right? Just rush fee lor. Then we put aside our other project, then we focus on this lor.
Team member of mine brought it up as well. Like what you said, we rush this project and then we set aside other projects. Are we being fair to other clients? Because you need to pace yourself. Your studio's production. And if you want to squeeze, means you need to use up more time. And if there's a rush fee in this current in this one project that you're charging, which means you are gonna pressure your team. You're gonna put it in a pressure cooker.
Yeah,
right?
but that's the thing though. We usually when we ask rush fee, right, is to bring in more people.
Yeah.
Because more people means we can get that shit done, so we don't need to neglect other stuff. But in interior design firm, I feel like, rush fee, you have to bring a whole team. And that means
but we have 10 people means we have 10 people only. We have like 10 pairs of hand. Unless you are going to bring on board other freelancers to support on this project.
But have you experienced this before? Like, they want it within a month?
Definitely, because
serious?
Especially like retail jobs, they say, I'm going to get the keys in January. You only have like 6 weeks left to design.
Is it possible?
Yeah, it's possible.
Within a month?
It's crazy.
What the hell?
Yeah. we built up the Genting restaurant in just 25 days.
What the hell?
Construction. So you literally walk in at 12:30 a.m. There's like 40 fellas in that shop working.
But is it like a market thing? Like, is it marketly common, or is it like just unreasonable kind of thing?
For retail, it's normal. That
Oh.
it's a rush job because you only have that short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say going back to your request of the client wanting it just in 30 days. Typically, I will look at it and discuss with my team whether we have the capability to do it or not. Do we have the support of more people, or we might just not take the job at all?
Oh, no, I never realized. I thought it takes like 2 months, 3 months to finish.
Because one thing that you can say no to actually provides a certain value to your team, because they will feel like, hey, there are certain clients we are saying no to because we are governing the product quality that we are trying to churn out.
Okay. So early on you talked about like the bad thing about the hardest lesson you learned in terms of running your own design studio, which is financing lah. The next thing I want to bring it back to more personal level. Like, what does people see that don't see in Leonard? Like, what does a personal toll? Like, because we asked the same question to previous guests. Like, what's the thing that most people don't see about you?
Well, I'll probably take some time to think about this. I would say some struggles that some internal struggles that I have conversations with myself with. I might exude a little bit of confidence to a lot of people because I feel that I may not want to let people down. So if any problems that I'm experiencing, I might not have the courage to share the problems, to seek for help, right? I will contemplate on it as to like, when I say problems are like really, really huge ones that takes a lot of effort to fix. But obviously the operational problems, we can just get it out of the way.
So basically just revealing out your own struggles to somebody else lah. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you still going through that now until?
I mean, every now and then you have that. It's just your coping mechanism. You just building as years go by and your experiences build. How do you self-soothe? Self-soothe like you.
That's the thing though.
Back,
That's the
right?
thing that
Everything's
people
gonna be
don't
okay.
see. Like most business owners, it's kind of lonely kind of thing. Like most of the stuff, even if this is my experience. Like, even if I want to share with somebody, but I know that you don't have that solution for me. It's like no point of me sharing that to you because there's no solution you can give me based on what you're doing or what that person is doing lah. So it's like very hard to like share that struggles. Damn, man. Like how do you overcome that, man?
I don't know. Maybe speak with more people. Maybe dip yourself in the water for an hour or so.
Yeah.
I think that would help.
We all go to Penang. Hey, that actually really helped. That really, because it calms my mind a little bit where my brain doesn't do a lot of stuff. We just go there, relax, don't think, listen to it, take a deep breather, and then go back. Sometimes location changes also help. Like, no need to go Penang lah, but just go to some other place that you're not familiar with.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay.
Sometimes I also wonder if that's an excuse to seek for refuge. If it's really good, or are you just running away from the problem?
Yeah,
You never
but
know, right?
yeah, that's true. But
If it helps, it
helps. Yeah, I told myself I need to be somewhere not in KL just to refresh my brain a little bit because I'm doing a lot of stuff. So I thought, can I just because me myself, I cannot take like 1-2 weeks holiday one. That's not me. I'm a workaholic, like super workaholic one. So even if that 3 days I went there, I went to the beach on the first day. The second day I was like, fuck, I need to work.
heart starts racing.
I cannot tahan already. I was like, I need to work. But
anxiety and palpitations.
yeah, I was like, okay, I told myself, okay, chill. You told yourself 3 days, just 3 days. It's just few days only. When I coming back, I was speeding it. Okay, let's go work. That's kind of workaholic I am actually. So, but it helps out sometimes if you just clear off your mind a little bit. It's not an excuse, like it's just a thing that you yourself, if you think is needed, go ahead. So, we're coming to the end, right? So, I want to ask you last question is that what's next for you in your studio?
I would really want to find peace in clearing off all the, there are gears that are not smoothened within your operation. It's lying around, but you just want to fix it. But you sometimes
metaphorically or literally?
Metaphorically. there are parts in the studio, there are processes.
Huts.
Yeah. There are probably people, there are situations, there are operation problems.
Or the systems that you link.
How you deal with client, your management problems, you know, they're all lying around, bits and pieces here of them. So if I'm gonna ask you, like, how do you feel about your marketing 1 out of 10, right? 6, you know, then the question to yourself is like, how do I make it a 9 out of 10? So I start listing out problems of every single aspect in the business and ask myself, oh, how do I feel about HR? How do I feel about my team's culture? Blah, blah, blah. You just go on and on.
That's so sad. It was like,
it's a feeling, you know.
Imagine you just list out paper, my problems of my company, and just keep going on. And then
Just
you
keep
feel
going
like,
on, yeah.
wow, this is so much problem.
Yeah. So your next step is, after that 1 hour deep in the pool, walk out of it and find solutions to it. Yeah.
Okay. What about your studio though?
That's where I find that I would hope that every single aspect that I find problems in could be resolved and be smoothened up. When I say those gears could be smoothened up, people, how they're feeling, the culture, the speed, the processes, get those up on board, making sure they are all running smoothly, automated. I think that provides a peace of mind for myself.
Okay. So we come to the end of the podcast. Thank you guys for listening. We have been talking for an hour. Hope you learned something from this. If any entrepreneurs who are looking to, like start interior design, it's not that hard lah. I mean, every business
bro.
No lah. I mean, every business you do, right? It's always hard one. It's just that the tendency, the passion you have to continue doing this. So don't take this as a negative thing. I'm not going this negative stuff. But is there anything you want to plug in before we end the podcast?
Do I want to plug in terms of how the business is being run and whatnot?
No, anything you want to say, like, shout out to my team.
Shout out to my team, definitely. They've been a great help, and sometimes I just find time and appreciate what I have around me, the resources, the support, and sometimes you might be expecting too much of yourself, especially because based on our conversation here, you sometimes go through burnouts yourself as well. So you gotta find a way to pick up yourself as well. Probably take a chill pill over a morning in a cafe. Just have conversations with yourself to clear off those inboxes, because sometimes you have this junk emails that are not resolved and you just don't want to open those emails.
I cannot.
Metaphorically, again. Yeah, so you cannot, right? So when you have those getting stuck in your mind, right, you just want to clear them off. Clearing your inbox. I think that was quite helpful for me. So I guess everyone is going through different problems in their lives. Big or small.
This is just a pro tip, right? I hate looking at my emails. There's a lot. Like main page open, there's a lot of like mails. Even the opens one, I don't like. I just delete everything.
600 unread emails.
Yeah, I just delete everything. If there's important, right, I just put it into like a small group tab somewhere there. I hate it when I see a lot of emails just like that.
And you feel better after that?
Yeah. It's clean. It's like, okay, clean. That's not bad. I've done something. All right,
that's
guys.
how I feel also.
Yeah, it's just OCD in me, I would say. Alright guys, thank you for watching and hope you guys enjoy.
Thank you so
much. If you like this podcast, give it a like, subscribe to the channel as well. And if you want any more business owners you want us to bring, do let us know in the comment section below. And as always guys, go out there, discover, connect and inspire. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao!